Just a second. Okay. Super. Hey everybody. Hi, hope you've had a good week. Hello. Amazing. How is everyone doing tonight? Who have we got? Some lovely familiar names coming up. Hello everyone. And a special welcome to anyone who's new, who's just joining in. Hey Sarah, how are you doing? Hi Sean. Hannah, hello. Amazing. Oh, it's so nice to see you. Oh, hey Johnny. Or Laura, if that's who's tuning in. Hey everybody. Oh, amazing. Oh, and hey Alice Boucher, she's back. It's so nice to see you all again, honestly. Absolutely smashing. Tonight, just let me get my notes up. So obviously, thank you so much to those of you who tuned in last week and did lots of smashing piglets and pastels. I can safely say I think you've mastered the pastels. I know it was amazing to see everyone's work, and I so enjoyed working with that colour. It was great. But for those of you who are just joining in, oh hi Cheryl and Bakewell. So nice to see you, thanks for coming. So for those of you, obviously I can see quite a lot of familiar names and sort of faces, but I'm just going to say a little introduction for those who are joining in for the first time. So a special welcome to you. My name is Jenny. I'm an artist and an illustrator, and about 6 years ago I set up my company, which is Wildlife Drawing, and so that is essentially creative drawing classes that happen all around London but a bit further afield as well. And what we do is instead of drawing a naked human being, we draw animals and nature, and what we try and do is bring people closer to those animals through learning, through drawing, and through kind of that close interaction. And the whole idea, is to sort of bring conservation into the kind of forefront of people's minds, and animal welfare. And so with that, we'd actually donate 10% of the annual business profits to animal and conservation charities. So really trying to do our bit in terms of animal welfare. Oh hi, lovely Beth, you're back for the second time. Great. Hello, so nice to see you all. So just in case you missed out on what we're going to be drawing for the next couple of weeks, so obviously tonight is all about donkeys and horses, but next week we're going to be drawing greyhounds in grayscale, and obviously we're not going to be doing just greyhounds, so it's open to all sight hounds. So if you have a sight hound yourself and you've got a particularly beautiful picture of your dog, please do send it in to info@wildlifedrawing.co.uk, and I can add it to the image pack, so we might be drawing your dog next week, which would be really lovely. So yeah, do let me know if you've got a nice sight hound image. And then the following week it's cats in colour, and that's on the 17th of June. So we're going to be running penguins, so something that I've not done before, the first online class with live animals. So that's going to be, I think, mostly charming but possibly mildly chaotic. So we're going to be broadcasting live from the penguin colony at the London Aquarium tomorrow. Tickets have actually sold out for that Zoom class, but if it goes well, I'm thinking I might do a drawing class with live baby owls with the team at Sky Birds. So if you fancy that idea, give us a thumbs up or send me a message, and we might be able to do that as well. Sort of just gauging people's response to the online stuff. So let me know what you think about that. And just a note to everyone who has a ticket already for an event that's been postponed. So all being well, obviously the next few weeks are very key, but maybe by mid-July, mid to end of July, we might be able to do start running a couple of the postponed drawing classes in real life. So if you do have a ticket, just hang tight, but what I'm going to be doing is releasing the sort of rescheduled program and a few new events over the course of this week. So you'll all be contacted with your new date, but if you are interested to see what's on, I'll be putting everything on the website, and of course there'll be social distancing measures, extra hygiene precautions, and we'll be running at a reduced capacity as well. So you'll be in safe hands. So let's get on to our horses and donkeys. So horses are amazing to draw. They don't have very much body fat, and so that means that all their muscle structures and their joints are amazing to draw, and they're nice and prominent, but they are very, very difficult. So that's why I thought we can tackle it together, and then hopefully this class will mean that you find drawing other animals a little bit easier. And so what we're going to be drawing, so we're going to start to do two drawings tonight, hopefully. So the first one, we're going to go for a full body here. This is one of the horses from Vauxhall City Farm. She's an absolute stunner, but I actually can't remember her name. And then if we have time, which I'm sure we will, I'm going to be drawing a focus on a donkey head here. So this here is Bayleaf, and he is from Spitalfields City Farm. He's an absolutely adorable chap. Go down and see him if you are in the sort of East London area. He's absolutely smashing. If you haven't already got them, the reference images are all available to download via the link in the bio. So head there and you'll see the top one is horses and donkeys images to download. And so what our drawings were kind of going to be looking like is sort of like this. So I've left all of my kind of sketchy lines on there to sort of show you where everything is. And we'll be looking a little bit about like sort of an anatomical structure as well. So if you do have a spare device, if you wanted to bring up a picture of a horse skeleton or a donkey skull, both of those will help you in sort of getting the initial shapes. And this here is lovely Bayleaf as well. So we'll do a quick sketch of the head at the same time. And so the materials that I'm going to be using tonight are super simple. Pencils, got my normal paper, and obviously a rubber as well. I think I'm going to be using this quite a lot. But you can obviously draw along in whatever you like. Absolutely all good. What else have I got? So obviously, the donations, there's a little pinned comment here, but also the link to donate is in the bio links as well. It's not mandatory in the slightest. It's free to join and for absolutely everyone to join in. But if you did want to contribute a little bit after the class, if you enjoyed it, then do feel free. That would be so kind of you. And some of it, of course, goes to kind of the running costs and like sort of trying to keep afloat in this tricky time. But also, you've been so generous, I've been trying to be a little bit generous as well, and sort of trying to pay things forward a bit. And so if some of the donations are going to be from tonight going to be donated to a GoFundMe campaign that's started up by Black Lives Matter UK, and so they're doing some amazingly important work. So it's to help fund that work across different areas, so including education, transparency, and political campaigns as well. And it's also specifically set up to help black communities that have been disproportionately affected by the coronavirus pandemic. So that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, Carol is looking for the bio link. So if you head back to my wildlife drawing profile, you should see a little circle with the wildlife drawing logo in, and then just 3 lines down there should be a link, and it says Linktree. Click on that and that'll have everything that you need. Oh, hey Alice, nice to see you. Okay, amazing. So I think with that, a couple more things. If you would like to minimize the comments, if you're looking at this on a phone or an iPad, you can just tap in the middle of the screen, comments will minimize. And yes, let's approach it with an open mind, open heart. Tonight, I think I truly think that everybody is an artist. I believe in all of you, and everyone sees the world slightly differently, so there is no right or wrong way of doing it. So I'm going to swing you around to my nice overhead view now, and then we will get cracking. See you in a minute. Okay. Right. Let's just take a look at this. How is that looking for everyone? Further up. Whoops. And there we go. Is that looking okay for everyone? Some thumbs up? Yeah? Okay, smashing. Oh, hey Ellie Russell as well. I've just spotted you in here. So, what we're going to be doing first is get all set up here. Okay, so the way I begun my drawing of this lovely horse here is by starting with the circle that is you can see on the head here. I'm just going to move it slightly down. I think that's a good position for everybody. Yeah, so this circle here that is on the face, and so that's the sort of circular jawbone, and I do this every time just to figure out how big everything else will be. If you sort of ascertain the size of the head, it will really show you how big everything else is going to be. And then the next line I'm going to put in is this spine line. So try really hard to just follow that spine line so carefully all the way down to the tip of the tail. Notice the little bump for the shoulder blades and the pelvis. So just trying to get everything in that line. And then over the neck, shoulder blades, little dip in the back, and then pelvis, and round to a very pert bottom, may I say. And then all the way down to the tip of the tail. So I'm pressing on a little bit harder than I would usually. So I reckon you could probably go a little bit lighter than I am. I'm just making sure that you guys can see it. You can just, obviously we're working in pencil, you can rub any of these lines out as you see fit if you find out they're not quite right. Okay, then the next thing we're going to be doing is have a little look at the proportions. So we really want to get to grips with the proportions at the very beginning. So I sort of figured out that the kind of ear to shoulder blade length was about the same as the shoulder blade to pelvis length. So just check your spine line is a good length before you start with the rest of everything. Then what we're going to have a look at is just sort of filling in this area here. So just again, really, really quick lines. And what we can do here is use the lovely old clock face method to make sure your angles are correct. So what you can do is turn that body into a clock face, figure out what time those neck lines are coming out, and actually they're all super straight around here, so that's just really, really helpful. And I actually even think that my neck is a little bit short here, so I may just move my circle a little bit further along. See, the rubber's out already. Don't be afraid of the eraser is your friend. There we go, that's a bit better. Okay, cool. And so the next thing, so obviously we've got this lovely straight line of the nose here, just making sure everything is looking about right. And before we go any further, oh good, someone's saying the clock face method is really helpful. I know, it is a pert bottom, isn't it, Ellie? Right, so we're just going to join up a couple of the lines. So just take the line that you put in for the neck and take it down. Make sure you've got the broadness of this chest in here. And then what we're going to do is start to pick out the muscle structure. So we want to start with sort of 3 circles for the main body. So I'm going to do a slightly smaller circle here for bottom, and then a bit more of a rounded oval for the belly. And then here, just a little bit of the muscle structure here for the top, for the front leg there. And so we're starting to see the kind of whole body sort of form a little bit now. And what we want to do is pay a bit of attention now to some of the outlines here. So we want to make sure we're understanding where the legs leave the body, so we can start to fill in those legs. So a little bit more here, and round off that bottom here. So we're just starting to understand where that body finishes. Okay, and then the next thing we want to do is, as we start with the legs, we want to figure out how long those legs are. And I sort of measured the legs, the length from shoulder blade to where legs exit the body is about the same length as the leg itself. So you can take that line, you can take that measurement, pop it underneath, and like sort of draw a little bit of a line to show how long those legs should be. That's, you know what length you're working with then. That's a bit easier to figure out. Okay, how's everyone doing? Everyone's okay for now, that's good. Everyone's probably concentrating hard. This is a very difficult one, but I'm going to try and make it as fun as possible. Okay, so now we've got this line at the bottom. We know how long the legs are. What I'm going to start to do now is really think about the anatomy underneath the body of the horse. That's what we're drawing, a horse. So the legs always begin up here at the pelvis and the shoulder blades. And they actually, horses have almost like an extra joint. I mean, if there are any kind of horse aficionados here, then please forgive me if I'm getting any of the anatomical features incorrect. I did some research, but not loads. So what we're going to do is start from here. So this is where the legs begin, or here. We'll do the back leg first. So pelvis, and then we've got a joint that comes out here, which is making the bottom, adding to the pertness of the bottom. And then we've got second joint here, and then down to the hock, it's called, not a knee, and then down here, and then in for the hoof as well. So if you're thinking, just get those little points on your paper. So we've got pelvis, back, where the leg meets, exits the body, and then about halfway down will be where the hock is. So that's back here. Again, pay attention to your angles here. And then, is that about right? Maybe a bit further down. And then another line coming out here. And then obviously this hoof is sort of lifted off the ground a little bit. But what we can do is look at the line method and make sure, so that hoof should line up with that pelvis. So you can draw that line down and just make sure your hoof is in line there. And then we've got that little bit for the hoof at the end there. All you need to do is just map it out with lines. That's all I'm doing. And then we'll do the same on the front leg here. Front leg start at the withers. Thank you, Lara. Very, very helpful. So we've got shoulder blades. And then this front joint structure here almost mirrors the back. So we kind of go out. And then because this leg is coming back a little bit, it's going to be coming back here to where it exits the body. And then we've got the line that comes sort of again. So this is a little bit further back from the shoulder blade, so about here. And then coming a bit further back, the knee about halfway down. Sorry, I couldn't get a photo without this little pole here, but I did some research onto horse knees, and I promise I'm showing you the right method. Okay, and then we're back again. So making sure that this is about the center of the belly. That's perfect here. And then hoof again. And then we'll start with the front leg that's further away. So we can't really see this joint up there. So what we'll do is we'll start with this one here. Again, check your angles. It's coming out slightly. It's sort of like 5:30. We've got the knee, a slight angle here for the front, and then down for that hoof. And then again, just the last back leg here. You can not see it as much, but we just make sure that is coming down. It's almost, that's sort of like almost 6 o'clock that, so it's a good sort of steadying foot. So, how is everybody doing? Oh no, the sound effects. Are the sound effects? I hope. Have we got some sound effects? I hope not. I'm not making any. Okay then. So, we have got pretty much everything planned out now in terms of joint structure. What I'm going to try and do now is just sort of fill out the legs a little bit more, give them their sort of shape. And what we want to do when we're doing this is, again, make sure we understand that the legs are coming from the top, so coming from the shoulder base, so you follow all of this lovely muscle structure down here, and where the legs, let's start with the back again. So we will, oh, did I I didn't even realise I said boop. I do it, I think, without thinking. So what we're going to do now is try and get this lovely curvature here. So I'm using nice kind of very flowing lines, just trying to follow the lines I've drawn, but give them a little bit more in the way of width. And so here, as we begin to do, you can see this lovely kind of thigh muscle here. So we sort of start about here and then bring that line down, and it tapers off quite quickly, but then we've got a very kind of prominent joint here, and then we go in a little bit thinner and then out here towards the fetlock, maybe a bit too thin, out towards the fetlock, and then down to the hoof. So hooves are incredibly hard to draw. Also, there's such complex angles, and that tiny little kind of after the fetlock where the hoof meets the fetlock, it is so kind of, it's so small. You can't really believe that the horses can run that fast and with that much power. It's kind of crackers, but the hooves themselves, I always think that you sort of need to see them as their own kind of shape, really. So a lot of people draw hooves as like just a block on the end of the leg, but actually they're very, very angular and very, very dainty. Oh, someone's asking me what type of pencil I'm using. It is just a 4B pencil, standard. I actually kind of meant to pick up the 2B, but hey, we're on the 4B now. It's nice and soft, so that's all good. So again, with the second leg, starting from up here and making sure we get all that lovely muscle structure in as we go down like this. Oh yeah, there are the sound effects again. We've got a nice sort of knee knob here, and then a really quite thin afterwards. Just checking that's all looking right. Bit thinner afterwards, and then out again towards that fetlock. A little sort of bump on the end, and then down to the hoof. So the hoof, right, if you want to have a closer look at it, let's see if I can draw it a little bit closer up for you. So sort of you got your fetlock here, and then the thin bit, and then it sort of comes out, like this is where it's sort of meeting the ground here, comes out a bit of an angle, and then it's this bit that's that's the shape that you're looking for, really. So I sometimes think of it as a sort of block of cheese, but with a rounded bottom. So try and think about that as you're going through with your hooves. Oh my God, isn't it so crazy, the shapes on this horse. And Vicky from York, or Vicky York, if you tap in the middle of your screen, you should hopefully be able to minimize the comments, and therefore you'll be able to see a little bit more of the drawing. I can move it up slightly for you. Okay then, so back to our hoof, and you're going to get that roundedness here. So block of cheese, pointy, rounded. Okay, it's not looking too bad. I need to bring this muscle up a bit here. Okay, and so we've got the two front legs now, hopefully everyone has. What I'm going to do now is just to start kind of joining up our outlines a little bit, so then we can know where the back legs are going to be coming out from. And so if we want to start here, so don't maybe like underneath the chin a little bit, because we're going to work into the face a little bit more. And then follow your line all the way down. And so just really make sure you get this muscular chest in there. That's so key and important. So all kinds of muscles rippling around here. And then through here, make sure this line matches up to your belly line. That's nice and important, just to make sure everything is in the right place. And then the belly kind of sort of comes up and sort of meets the legs up there a little bit as the sort of it goes into the waistline. Yeah, that's about right. And then back to the bottom. And again, round just marking everything out. I'm sort of a bit more confident with my proportions now, so I can press on that little bit harder and just ascertain where these back legs should come out of the body. And so as I've added quite a bit of the chest here, I'm sort of looking where this line comes out, where those two shapes kind of bisect each other, and sort of about here. So again, using those nice smooth lines. Ooh, hang on, this one's quite far back. Just having a small moment. I'm just doubting myself a little bit. Hang on, I think this line is wrong. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and then down again to that little knee knob. Here we go, and then we're going thinner and a little bit flatter. So really look at the hooves that are meeting the floor. Really look at how they hit the floor and the angle at which, so you can really just check on that angle to make sure you've got it right. And yeah, block of cheese, roundedness. Oh, I'm not sure that looks quite right for me. I think I need to make this part straighter. Yep, the rubber's getting a lot of use. The rubber is your friend. Still not quite. I think it's maybe this top bit here that I'm having a problem with. Yeah, it needs to be a bit straighter, and this needs to be a bit further down. That looks a bit more like it's standing on the ground. It's always really good to make sure that your legs look as though the horse is standing on the ground. Otherwise, it'll topple over. Just need to make sure that your stance makes sense. And there's been so many studies going into the gait of horses as well. And we'll go to the back leg here. Just this last one before we get onto the face. We are making good time. How is everybody doing? Oh, someone's asking me what paper I use to draw. I think I've just got like an eco kind of recycled paper pad here. I think it's about 120 GSM, so it's not super heavy. Just for pencil sketching, that's absolutely fine for me. Okay, get this back leg down. And then fetlock, thin bit, and then this is a bit more of an upright hoof here, so there we go. That's better. Tell you what, if you're finding the hooves absolutely horrendous to do, just put your horse in a nice grassy meadow and no one will ever be the wiser. So just make sure you've kind of got your sort of muscle bits in here. Maybe have a little look at where the shading sort of starts. Get that bum cheek in, a bit darker around here. And just sort of take a little step back. So right now we're in a good place. We're going to start on the face a little bit. We're not going to add too many details. We're just going to make sure that everything is looking good and is in the right place. Have we got any questions before we go? Everyone's looking good. Everyone's got thumbs up. Everyone's doing good. So I'm just going to switch to my 2B pencil now, actually, just to get a little bit more kind of a pointy edge and a little bit more detail. So you could spend hours kind of going in and kind of getting all of this beautiful shading here. But we're going to sort of whiz through a little bit because I want to show you the donkey head as well, the head of Bayleaf. So as we're going to start to kind of come up here, you just notice some of the muscles in the neck of the horse, and the neck is so strong. So we're going to start to follow those up towards the head here. And then you might need to just rejig the original circle that you did. That's absolutely fine. I rejig it all the time because obviously you've done quite a lot of work here. This might not be matching up. So I'm going to just move my circle slightly forward again. So sort of, I think I moved it back to its original place. So what we're looking for is this sort of amazing kind of like circular joint here, the jawbone, sorry. That's what we're going to be looking for. And look at the way it meets the neck. So we've got this sort of bit here, and here as the head comes up and round. So you want to be making sure that you've got a lovely kind of broad sort of forehead coming down here, and this line, the line of the nose and the face of that horse, is super straight. So you can just again make sure you got that clock face method, understand at what time that line is coming out. And to me that's sort of, hang on, what is it, 3 about 4:30. I can't tell the time. So that's a little bit further up like this. And then we want to have just a little look at where the ears are. So the ears are amazing for showing the mood of the horse. And so we're going to they're almost like a sort of almond shape. So that I want to just add a bit of those in just to make sure we know where they are. And then the other ear we can see just poking out there, maybe slightly bigger. Yeah, and look at the way it fits into the head as well. You've got lots of muscles. Apparently the muscles, there is lots of muscles in the ears of a horse. And apparently horses are one of the only animals that can sleep standing up, which is quite cool. The foals of horses can run, like literally run, after about 3 hours after they've been born. Isn't that crackers? So they're running almost as soon as they're born. That is good evolution. Apparently horses' teeth take up more space in their head than their actual brain. Donkeys are actually the more intelligent of the species. Obviously both donkeys and horses came from the how do I say it? They evolved from the same family, a sort of equestrian version of a Latin word. They evolved from the same family, but they are separate species, and donkeys are the more intelligent of the two. Okay, so draw a little mane in there. Now we're going to look at where the eye is. Yes, we are. So what we're going to show is just look at how far down this line the eye is. And it's almost kind of 1/3, maybe just over 1/3. So you can just measure your line and make sure your eye is beginning at the right place. So the eye of the horse, you can't really see it, a great amount of it. So what we're going to do is just kind of draw a right angle that sort of runs along with that line running adjacent to the line of the nose. And then what you're going to do is just draw like a little kind of sort of a semi sort of circular shape that will kind of join those two lines up. So a little bit like geometry really. And the reason what we're going to do that is because at this angle, this profile angle, that's the what we can see of this eye. And so you also want to make sure, and if you have a look at a horse skeleton, the brow bone and the cheekbone of the horse are so prominent. So you might want to just add a couple of lines in just to show how that's kind of coming out from the rest of the face. And then of course you can colour in your eye, leave that little bit of white, make sure they look nice and soulful. I do love the eyes of horses. And then as we travel a little bit further down the nose, make sure your line is long enough. So I actually think mine needs to be a little bit longer here. And then what we're going to do is start to work up from the chin. And actually this horse has got a sort of bulge, a chin bulge we'll call it, before it gets to the actual lips and the nostrils. And so horses have always got quite a sort of squared off kind of nose at the end. But this bit is really quite hard to get right. So you kind of want to make sure that your lines are nice and fluid, but also the lips and the nostrils are all kind of quite soft and they're quite rubbery. So you want to be quite I don't know what better word to say, but like quite wibbly in your lines. So if we go up for the nostrils here and give them a nice sort of big rounded nostril, and then bring that out to the top lip. So it's a good idea to make sure you look at the relationship between the top and the bottom lip and just kind of get that right. So the bottom lip is kind of extending out quite, it's really got a bit of a pout on actually. So then the chin is a little bit, oh God, I think mine's going wrong. Yeah, it needs to be a bit more pointy in this end and a little bit more rounded here. And possibly a bit less in this section. I'm not sure. I'm not totally happy with that, but hey, not to worry. It's only a drawing. Okay, how is everyone doing? Okay, I'm really enjoying this cheese and horse related joke bonanza. Oh right, someone needs to see the nose. Sorry, I didn't get that in. How's that? Is that any better? Give us a holler if it's not. So we are kind of almost on the finishing touches. I would say it's a really good idea to kind of, again, like go through, cross-check your proportions, and then what you can do is start to take out all of your kind of sketchy lines, all of these circles and joint structures that you have in, and you can start by just sort of adding in a little bit of the shading, and this is when your drawing will really come to life. I'm not going to do loads of it because I want to show you how to draw the donkey as well, but the shading is what will make it really come to life. And then of course you can give her a little kind of, I don't know, something to stand on. Who knows where they are. But yes, I'm going to leave that drawing as this and start to move on. So we've got a good sort of 20 minutes to get on with our donkey head, sorry. How is everyone doing? Oh, Alice is failing on the eye. Let me just hold this further up. Is that bit helpful? So you can always do a little screenshot of this, maybe, if that's helpful, of the face. If you wanted to stop looking like a cartoon, I would say reduce the size of the eye. That's always a really good tip. Big eyes means cartoon characters. Yours is smiling. Lovely. Okay, great. So if everybody's happy and nobody has any extra questions, what we're now going to go on to is this lovely picture of Bayleaf. So of course, like, you can finish your drawings as and when you have time. I just wanted to kind of get the anatomy parts out of the way for you, so you had everything in the right place and you can go crazy with the shading in your own time. Okay, great. Everyone's got the screenshot. Back legs, very hard. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so we're going to begin lovely Bayleaf in the same way that we did the horse. So we're going to start with this big circle here of Bayleaf's face. He's not a bailiff. And we're going to start, this circle with the jawbone. But when you're drawing this on your paper, make sure that you leave enough space for the ears. The ears of a donkey are way bigger than you think. So make sure you leave space for them. And when we've got this circle here, we're going to start to kind of bring up and follow this jawline up to where the ears are. So the ears of a donkey, they are so furry and so big, and they really show the mood of the donkey, and usually where the ears are pointing, that's where the donkey is looking. Same for horses as well. So you might want to just add in that little, it's almost like an elongated almond shape you want to do for your donkey ears. And then once you've got your number one ear in, start running down this line here, and we can start to figure out the head and the forehead a little bit. So What I think is really, really important is to understand this broad kind of strip that comes down the nose, really flat. And so what's really good is, to begin with, what we might do is just do a little cross on the donkey's head. So like, so one horizontal line and one more vertical line. So what we're going to do is sort of run that over the face. So we've got this line here, which is sort of, that's going to be the eyes are going to be just underneath this line. And then we sort of take it from the forehead and run a line right down the middle. Yeah, like that, perfect. And then what we can do is use that to figure out this kind of broad strip here in the middle. So we've got strip, cross, circle. How is everybody doing? Okay, everyone still might be on the other drawing. Okay, the next thing we're going to be doing is just check all your angles quickly. So make sure that this angle is correct. And then what we're going to do is just bring those lines down. Make sure you get that nice sort of lovely kind of cushiony nostril area here, and just square it off, because the lips of donkey is so square. So we're just going to square that off at the end. And then we're going to start to bring this line up from the chin and meet that circle. And just make sure you've got the right amount of space here. So tip of ear to eye is about the same as eye to nose. So just make sure, I'm just slightly off there. Maybe my ears are a bit too big. But yeah, just make sure you've got everything right before you carry on, sorry. Then we're going to start putting in this second ear. So you can do, again, that lovely kind of elongated almond. But have a little look as well at the way the ear folds around, and just make sure you get that kind of nice, that sort of lovely curvature at the back here, like whoop, like that. Great. How's everybody doing? Everyone, no more comments. I think everyone must be concentrating avidly. I'm going to quickly tell you a couple of lovely donkey facts. So donkeys are very intelligent and very cautious animals. So that phrase, stubborn as a mule, that actually comes from donkeys and part of the donkey family. But actually donkeys are so cautious, so they won't step on any terrain that they don't know. And so sometimes when donkeys have come to our drawing classes, they haven't been sure about maybe like a certain colour of tarmac. So they're very stubborn, very cautious, and with that they've got a really good sort of self-preservation kind of inbuilt in them. They are so strong as well, so they're used to carry twice their own body weight a healthy donkey can, and they can live over 50 years, so they are amazing animals. And I know when I was little I fell in love with all the donkeys at the donkey sanctuary when we went on a family holiday to Wales. Absolutely gorgeous animals they are. They have an incredible memory. Apparently they can recognise areas, other donkeys and humans from even up to 25 years ago in their memory, which is absolutely insane. And they are social herd animals, so they like being together, and they will naturally select the strongest donkey as a leader, which is quite sweet. Okay, cool. So let's crack on a little bit with the eye and the face. So the donkey's eye, so we drew this crossed line over here, and this is going to be the top of our eye. And what we want to do is make sure that the eye, the donkeys have lovely big soulful eyes, but it actually doesn't take up loads of the space in comparison with the rest of the whole face. So if you want to just, again, we want to do a sort of almond shape, I guess. So make sure it's lining up properly. So the edge of the ear should be about the middle of the eye. So the edge of the ear here. Not quite. Yeah, maybe. So about edge of the ear should be the middle of the eye. And then we're going to take that line down. So following the sort of almost like the teardrop of the donkey. and then rounding it back like this. So something like that, yeah. And then obviously on the other side, we can't see Bayleaf's other eye, but we can see that kind of prominent brow bone that I was talking about with the horse. So you might want to just add a couple of eyelashes there. That's sometimes quite nice to just signify that's where the other eye is. Bayleaf has an absolutely cracking set of eyelashes, but I'm afraid I'm just not sure if my pencil is capable of doing it. We can try. If you want to do this and then colour in the black around. Let's see if this works. And then work back into your eyelashes. How's that looking? Sort of. Hey, we gave it a bash. Not too bad. Okay then, as we go down to the nose, again we've got this lovely kind of broad strip here, and this strip kind of turns into the nose, but the two nostrils really kind of curve out here, so we want to make sure we've got that line coming in like this, and then make sure those lovely big nostrils are put in there, and our sort of the skin kind of folds around them and kind of gets a bit crinkly on the actual nose, which is very, very cute. And then head down to the lips. Lovely big rubbery lips again, and then just look at the angle that the corner of the mouth comes up to. So I made a mistake with this last time, and it's sort of the corner of the mouth should sort of meet up with that the eye, corner of the eye there, so sort of a bit more that way, like that. Yeah, not too bad. And then the bottom lip, we can't actually see so much of that bottom lip, so I'm just going to draw a little bit of it here, just so it kind of echoes the shape of the rest of the mouth, and then bring that back up to where the corner of the mouth is. And then of course now you can kind of get a little bit creative with all the whiskers and the lovely kind of little bits of funny hairs that's all around Bayleaf's nose. Again, good idea as well to draw a little bit of how that brow bone's fitting in, just sort of a hint of what's underneath that fur, and how that skull is sort of fits together. And then yeah, from here again you can take out all of your lines, your sort of sketchy lines, and you can just have a lot of fun with getting all the sort of scrappy tufts of hair, that mane here. You can add a bit of colour if you wanted to. Yeah, and make sure you're following the direction of the hair of the mane at all. Decided mine's going to be quite a scrappy little drawing, so I'm just kind of putting in. Yeah, so what you can do is go over your outlines with a little bit more of a sort of textural line as well. That's quite a nice tip. Lovely. Oh, one last thing before we go is really what's quite prominent on donkeys. You can't totally see it on Bayleaf here, but it's nice to just show where the hair gets a lot thinner around the little nose. That's quite a classic donkey character. So there we go. That looks so much more donkey-like now, I think. I don't think I've still got the nose bits right. I think we should bring it out a little bit more there. Okay, lovely. Well, I think that will do for the donkey and horse anatomy. Does anyone have any questions? I'll wait for them to come in, but if you don't, I'm just going to put you back on the, so I can see you, and just ask you, yeah, how did everyone get along? So I'll tell you what, I'll just bring that up so you can maybe do a little screenshot if you like. How did everyone find that? Horses and kind of anatomical things are really, really tricky. I do know that. But hopefully that was a little bit helpful. And that might be, hello, that might also be helpful for drawing all different kinds of animals as well. So I think, you know, if you're drawing any animals, obviously with a skeleton, which will be quite a lot of them, you can really use that technique to get all of the joints in the right place. Oh, everyone's saying it's enjoyable but hard. A good challenge. Oh, horses are so hard. I know. But I think it was hopefully a really useful lesson to kind of continue your animal drawing journeys. Oh, good. The commentary gave you confidence. I'm so glad. That's so kind. But yeah, so once you kind of finished off your horse drawings or donkey drawings, or even if you didn't finish them, do send them over. Just tag @Wildlife Drawing. And also, if you wanted to, the farm would absolutely love it if you tagged Spitalfields City Farm in your Bayleaf drawing. So that's the drawing of the donkey head. I know they'd absolutely love to see what you've done, and I did tell them that I was doing this tonight, so they're looking forward to it. So yeah, please, if you want to send through any PayPal donations, that would be so nice. Next week I will let you know tomorrow all of the things to do with greyhounds in grayscale, the materials and everything. But again, I'm going to keep these last ones a little bit open, so you can draw along in whatever you like. Oh, everyone's enjoying it. First time drawing an animal. I'm so pleased. Well done. I can't wait to see your results. Lovely. Oh, people had a good time. I'm so delighted. These Wednesday nights are actually, you know, my favourite night of the week now, because I get to spend it with all of you, and it's so wonderful hearing your comments and your positivity, and I'm so happy to have been part of your lockdown experience. It's been an absolute delight for me. So with that, I will let you go and have your dinner if you haven't already had it. Yes, I will see you next week for Greyhounds in Grayscale. Thank you again for watching. It's been my pleasure. Take care. Good night.